Some of you probably missed me. Many of you didn't even notice I was gone. But I'm back! Yeah, we'll see how much. Probably off and on, but I'm here. And it's kind of a reflection of my current state level of interest in just professional wrestling as a whole. It's about very little. It's going to pick up a little bit here over the next few months and kind of culminate with next year's WrestleMania, and we'll see what happens from there. But anyways, it was Saturday night. Figured, what the hell, I'll go ahead and watch Survivor Series WarGames. And I know this is going to come across sounding very boomerish for me, and I ain't glad I don't give a fuck. I'll eat it on this one because to me, WarGames just, for WWE, no. Just no. Actually, I would identify it more with the NXT brand than I would with WWE, let alone WCW, the Crockett days, etc. Like, just no on the WarGames. Like, I would rather see like Elimination Chamber not be its own pay-per-view like in the past, right? And be the match here if you want to go there. But for me, I will always stick to I preferred Survivor Series kind of being its own unique thing, the 4-on-4, 5-on-5 matches, maybe one or two singles title matches in there to kind of mix it up. But, you know, the WarGames matches, at least I'll say this, on this show they had one match that you could justify and merit having a WarGames style fight. And then you had the women's match. Because we just fucking have to do everything even, Steven, equal. No, you fucking don't. Like, if there's a more compelling story for the women, then give them the WarGames match. I realize there's probably something there that says, well, if we're going to go through all this to have the setup there, we might as well maximize the value. No, fucking don't do that. Have one of those matches. Make it feel special. Make it feel unique. And this time, that should have been the men's match, and that's fucking it. Do the women's match as like a traditional 5-on-5 tag. Fine. But you kind of devalue the specialness of the stipulation when you do it multiple times in a show, especially when you look at the women's match. There was absolutely nothing there, in my opinion, just looking at it here, that says that this needed to be a WarGames match. Now, full disclosure, I didn't realize that this show started at 6 p.m. Eastern. I thought it was starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. So when I tuned in a little bit before 7, I'm like, oh shit, I missed the opening WarGames match. So there you go. Yet and still, I can venture a guess, I probably didn't miss much. And I'm sure if I went and looked on social media, I'd probably get a lot of concurring opinions there. Because again, just because you can do more than one WarGames match doesn't mean you should. The whole thing here about like equality and everything else, no, bump that. Like, put enough effort in to make the women's match feel important enough and significant enough with enough stakes to where it justifies and necessitates that special stipulation. And if it doesn't, then don't fucking go there. It just devalues the whole purpose of the match by putting it in a spot that it doesn't need to be in and can potentially take away from the match that does deserve the stipulation. Anyways, boomer old man soapbox take done. So where I did start watching in full was the U.S. Championship match. I know another soapbox rant here. Feels like I'm picking on the ladies tonight, but it's more like a statement against WWE here. You're doing like mid-card titles for the women. You're going to have a women's Intercontinental Championship, a women's U.S. Championship. Why? Do you have the space to have that? Do you have the talent and depth of talent on the roster to support that? My guess, my belief is absolutely fucking not. And you're just going to have multiple other women's belts that don't mean shit, just like the women's tag team titles for a long time. Like, come on, guys. If you want to put them on more equal footing, then treat them like they're on more equal footing. And that doesn't necessarily mean giving them damn straps. That's all I'm saying there. But apparently this Nakataker version, or this whatever the hell, Nakamura version of Shinsuke, beats LA Knight clean, I guess. And now, admittedly, I've watched so little to none over the past couple of months of wrestling that I'm trying to catch up here. So it's more of like a casual vibe at this point. But it seems like LA Knight's really over with the crowd still. But, you know, the WWE isn't going to go all the way with him. You know, I'm sure AEW's watching and be like, hey, for this 42-year-old LA Knight fella, give him 7 or 8 years, and that young lion's going to be able to roar in AEW. But Shinsuke wins, I guess. I really don't have a ton of opinion on this one. It wasn't really an interesting match to me. What was more interesting of a match was the triple threat for the IC title. Now, with that said, you know, I'm not a big fan of triple threat matches. And Ludwig Kaiser looked incredibly out of place here. Just have it be Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. Don't make it so damn difficult and convoluted. Now, the match ended up working, and even Kaiser played his role really well here. I'm thinking like, hey, he's going to be in there to take the pinfall, and he ultimately doesn't. But the whole time I'm watching this match, and you just struck by the athleticism and the explosive athleticism of a Braun Breaker, and then the stupidity of why the fuck don't you just use the goddamn Steiner name with him? How fucking difficult can this be? Anyways, the whole time I'm just thinking, this guy's a future WrestleMania main eventer. He should have been the guy to beat the Tribal Chief. And I can't wait in a year or two, and this is me projecting something that's not going to happen, but I just get visions in my head of Braun Breaker versus Jacob Fatu in the main event of WrestleMania and see that as the type of match that everybody could get something out of. You've got these big physical guys that do athletic, explosive shit. They have personalities I think would mix really well. Just for the casual, the charisma type fans, the work rate type of fans, it feels like it would have something for everybody. That's what I was thinking about here. And Sheamus did not win. It's not his moment to become a Grand Slam champion. Gives him some purpose, so it works. Certainly better than the U.S. title match. And I thought it was better, frankly, than the World Heavyweight Championship match. You know, admittedly, I forgot that Gunther had even won the belt a few months ago. Apparently he did at SummerSlam, I think. I don't fucking know. And that just shows how little of an impression that the product in 2024 puts on me. It speaks to just how non-emotionally invested I am in most everything that's associated with wrestling right now. I thought this match was kind of lame, personally. Just because it's lame doesn't mean it's terrible, but it was pretty snoozerific to me. And then you have Finn Balor coming out and getting involved, so like, just not a fan of this here. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't look at Gunther and see, like, in this era of WWE, not the type of guy that I would see as a world champion. Ironically, I think Gunther is a better fit as like a 70s, 80s style, like NWA world champion. Now, just, no, man. It's a no for me, dog. This match went almost 20 fucking minutes, and it felt like it was about 10 minutes too long, in my opinion. I mean, maybe this was just a thing of, I really don't know what's going on, and I really don't care. I'm not emotionally invested, so let's just hurry up and get to the fucking main event where I will be emotionally invested. And we finally did. The men's WarGames match. The match we really gave a fuck about. This is the one you've been pointing to. This is the one you've been waiting for. And, you know, I thought it was fantastic. The beginning kind of dragged a bit. Let's be honest here. It feels like you could do more. And I think that's always kind of the odd thing about the WarGames stipulation, especially when you think about it from a traditional WWE fan standpoint, is the match doesn't start until everybody's in the ring, but these guys have been coming in over the past 20 plus minutes and they're fighting, so how does the match not fucking begin? You know what I'm saying. But how they sat there and you have CM Punk going after the new bloodline when they're locked up in the cage, and you've got Jey Uso coming out last, and everybody's like, he came out last? Yeah, because he was going to go in the ring first. I thought that actually kind of made sense. I'm surprised so many people were surprised that the OTC apparently, like, we got to fucking put lame acronyms on every fucking thing now. No, Roman wasn't going to come out last because he wasn't going in first. I don't know, it's just silly to me. But the dynamics of CM Punk wants to go out, but Roman stops him and tells Sammy to go. And then when Roman's getting ready to go out, CM Punk bursts through. They played this off where the heel team, the new bloodline, they have the freaking man advantage throughout. Very smart. We've seen some WWE WarGames matches where the psychology is all types of fucking stupid. Lots of good stuff when you got everybody actually in the ring and the right team won, and they won in the right way. Admittedly, like you had Jacob Fatu fuck up the moonsault. It looked like he really seriously jacked up his knee, but it doesn't look like too bad now. But I'm sorry, when I see Solo, I see like Umaga type of upper mid-card guy. Those are valuable pieces to have in your roster. I'm just struck the whole time. I'm like, you keep trying to point my eyes at Solo, Solo, Solo. Meanwhile, I'm looking at Fatu, Fatu, Fatu. And I'm like, Fatu, Breaker, WrestleMania main event. How could this not fucking happen someday? But this is where WWE in recent years has gotten pretty buttoned up in terms of how effectively they tell their stories in their big matches and in their big moments. And I thought they did really well here. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are disappointed with the finish in the sense of not that Roman won in the way that they won and that even him and Punk had their handshake moment at the end. It was the fact that the camera stayed down there for a very, very long time, and there's no Brock, there's no Rock, there's no turn, there's no anything. And you know what? I get it, but at this point in time, you didn't need it here. Like, sometimes it's okay to just absorb the moment and just be in the moment. And you don't always have to be, what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next. And I realize in our kind of like dopamine addicted, social media based society that we've gotten to this place that everything requires now, instant gratification. But in this case, that was the gratification. Roman got his one up on Solo here in a squared up 5-on-5 fight. I thought even the storytelling dynamics about how the new bloodline came out all together, but everybody from the OG bloodline plus Punk had their own entrance, you know, the way you're trying to showing like the unity versus the individualism. Like, so many of these things were awesome and they were great. And that's okay. You just roll with this being what it is. You teased Reigns versus Punk at some point in time, they'll do it and people will want to see it. That's fantastic. You didn't have to do anything here. And if you're not throwing Rock here because you want to throw Rock at Cody, by God, whatever it takes to get the belt off of fucking Cody, so goddamn be it. Hopefully it's at Saturday night's main event next month. But yeah, like overall thoughts on this show was Braun Breaker really stood out, and I enjoyed the main event. I'm glad I didn't watch the first WarGames match, nor do I have any interest in going back and watching it. Now, just so that way Rhea can stand tall. I'm good with all that, man. But yeah, like Gunther is world champion. It's a no for me, dog. This new iteration of Shinsuke, maybe if I've been watching more recently, I might care more, or I might care less and be like, oh no, this is really, really stupid. I just don't have much of an opinion. It just didn't make much of an impression on me. And that's probably the worst thing it could do. Just kind of like Gunther as world champion just doesn't really leave me with any type of impression there. So we'll see what happens next. We're getting ever closer to the road to WrestleMania kicking off, and they need something. Because right now, if I'm looking ahead to WrestleMania 41, like I might not get any of the matches that I want, and it'd be really hard to get me super excited about that show. That's all I'm saying.